Hey everybody, my name is Rowyn. It's actually spelled Rowyn, so it's more like Rowyn. I'm usually just an inside person, but today is Yule, so I wanted to celebrate it. Honestly, this video was meant to be recorded way earlier today, but we've just had one of those days. But what I thought I would do is show you how I make a Yule crown / wreath. Now we're not using natural, we're not using the real plants other than rosemary, just because this year we lost track of time. I think a lot of people have, but we just didn't know what time of year it was, didn't have time to prepare, so we're just using what we have around us in the flat. This might be a really good thing to do with children, maybe. So either you can use a wreath that you could buy from places like Hobbycraft if you're in the UK. I don't know where you would get it from in anywhere else, really. But yeah, what I've done is I wrapped it with bits of earth-toned twine. Got lots of colourful twine last year. I originally was going to use this because I like the kind of wood effect. However, I think it might be a bit too thick in height. So because once we get all the stuff on it, it might be a little bit too much. But the idea is it will fit just on top of your head like a crown or a tiara. So this is definitely an option. And then all you would do is you would weave your accessories, I'm just going to call them accessories, into the bits of twine. You could also use wool or string. But we happen to have some macrame cord. So I have decided that I'm going to do 3 chains of macrame and then plait them together and then tie them, and then I can weave my things in. So I'm going to position it so that you can see what I'm doing with my hands. Good. So I've already done my first cord, and it's about 2 arm lengths on me. So if you measure from your chin, or like the middle of your body, to the end of your finger, then that's quite a good way of doing it. And then just make sure you do twice that, and that should be good. There are 2 ways you can. Oops. So there are 2 ways you can make this chain. The first way is by pulling it through with your fingers, which I'll show you how to start it off. The only thing with this is that this loop will get really, really big, so you'll need to keep shortening it, so it's about there. I'm just going to move myself a bit forward because I'm straining. Okay, I am sorry you're going to have my feet, but I want you to see what I'm doing. So we have a loop and our thread here. I'm just going to lay the loop over the top of the thread, pick up the thread that was underneath, and pull. Now I'm just going to keep doing that until I have the right length. Now you can see what I mean, this loop is now getting really, really big. So the other way you can do this is by using a crochet hook. So this is a 10mm crochet hook. I think you could actually get away with either an 8 or a 9. But all you would do with this is it's just using your normal chain. So you put your hook through the loop, you wrap the yarn around it, get the hook kind of so that the yarn is attached to it like that, and then pull that loop through. This is a slightly faster way of doing it once you get used to crocheting, because your tension stays the same, so your loop never gets too big. Okay. So the reason why I'm making these chains so long is because I want it to be the right size around my head, and it's easier to rectify it if it's too long than if it's too short. Because at the end of the day, I can just weave the rest of the cord in, or you can do it so that you have a bit of a tail, so that you have kind of decoration going down your back as well. So I'm going to measure this cord against the one that I finished and just see what my length is like. I would say that maybe do one more chain, and then that would be this chain finished. So you could use any really chunky, stiff cord that you like, really. You could use string, you could use super chunky wool, or you get t-shirt yarn is also a really good one. Anything that's, when we plait it together, it's going to be sturdy. Now, just because I have it, I'm going to use this blue. It is like a navy blue colour as well. I think Kat was going to use this to make some kind of nautical style thing, and then they just didn't. So I thought I may as well use this today, because it's all about using things you have around you. Okay, so to start off, I'm just going to lay my cord against one of my plaited ones, or well, one of my chained ones, and I'm going to give myself a little bit more. So can you see? I don't know if it's focusing. Okay, there we go. So 1, 2, it's like the third chain probably, because when we make our first cord, we need to have a bit of room to work. So for your chain, your first beginning row, you take your cord, you make a loop by wrapping it around your finger, then you have your loop there. Then you, done this the wrong way. So you make sure that the yarn you're going to be working with, or the cord you're going to work with, is on the top of this loop. I can't really see that, can you? So it's, yeah, there we go. So this is the yarn I'm going to work with. It's laying there over the top, then it's going underneath, up, and through. And then I have my first stitch. From there, I'm going to get my crochet hook, and I'm going to crochet this chain because I find it faster. So normally when this is a pagan, or one of the pagan traditions from Yule. Yule is the winter solstice, and this year it does actually land on the 21st of December. It can be anywhere between the 20th and the 22nd of December, depending on what the moon is doing. So, as Joe explained, I think in an earlier video, we use the lunar months, and so it's kind of easier for us to keep track of when the Sabbats and Esbats fall. But when they used to do this in those times, or if you're going to make a traditional one of these, you would use vines and probably plait the vines together, and that would be your base. I did consider doing that with the artificial ivy that we have around. However, it has quite a lot of, well, it's wired and it was a bit too stiff. Didn't want to do what I needed it to do. So I decided to do it this way. Okay. Right, I'm going to finish this chain and then we will be back when this bit is done. So for those of you who don't know what Yule is and why it lands on different days of the year each year, it is the winter solstice, so it is the shortest day of the year. So it's the day where there is more night than day. Now obviously this has been happening for quite a while now, because the balance was at the equinox in September, which is where there are the same amount of hours of light as there are dark, and then from then on the nights get longer and the days get shorter. But this is the day where it is mostly night. So obviously it's very sensitive to what the moon is doing, as the moon is part of, she's the night. I've nearly got my cord to the right size now. Just have a little bit left and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I have finished my cord. I'm just going to cut it off, leaving a bit of a tail. Tight. Great, so now I have my 3 cords. This bit might get a little bit tricky, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my 3 cords and I'm going to knot them together using these tails that I've left at the top. They're just a normal overhand knot. And then when I go to tighten it, I'm going to do it downwards so that the knot is really secure. Okay, so now I'm just going to plait my cords together, and this would be easier if I had something to hold it down so that it wasn't kind of up in the air. However, I think if I hold this bit taut as I plait, it will work just fine until it all gets. It will get tangled, but that's okay. Just untangle it and carry on. It would be much easier if you pin it to a cushion or a blanket, or attach it to a surface somehow. as I am doing this, I am weaving my intentions into the crown / wreath. I'm thinking about all the positivity, I'm thinking about what I'm grateful for, and I'm thinking about what I'm looking forward to in the next year. So I'm going to go quiet now so I can do that. Obviously this step is totally optional, but this is just part of my spiritual practice. So you can see that my cords are a slightly different length. That's no biggie. I can just undo this knot here and pull it to the correct length. So I'm going to put my finger on the knot that I want to stop at. There we go. And then I'm just going to make my knot again by pulling my loop, get my loop, pulling my thread all the way through. And I'm going to do the same with this blue. So I'm at the end of my plait. I'm just going to bring all of the bits of plait together, and I'm going to knot them all together at the end again, making sure that I pull it really tight. Okay, so one of my cords was a little bit too short. That's okay. I've just attached it to the other two by looping it around, pulling the end through the loop and pulling, and I've done that twice now. So this is called a double half hitch. For those of you who are interested in knot names. Okay, so that's all sturdy, and I've got my long bit of cord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle. I'm going to go to the centre of the back of my head, and then I'm going to wrap it round. So there's my original loop. And what you can do is twist these ends around, which I think looks better, so I'm going to do that. And then with the other bit, I'm going to twist the other way. And you'll see that that is exactly right now. Once we get to the end, same thing as before. I'm going to twist one underneath, other one underneath and then over, and then I'm going to tie them together. So I have kind of my cord there and my two excess bits of string, and I'm just going to tie over the top. And I'm going to do this twice. I'm actually going to do a wreath knot. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go left over right, under and through. And then we're going to go right over left, under and through. And the reason I'm using this knot is because it is very sturdy. So if you pull on it, the knot just gets tighter. Okay, so we have our loop. And this, with any luck, should fit on my head. There we go. So there's our crown. I have my thing here, And I have little bits that I have actually chopped off last night. And then I'm just going to weave these through. And remember, we plaited. If you remember, we plaited these. You can actually weave it through one of the plaits rather than all of the twist. Okay, so there's one. And I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around with my different bits. So this is my finished crown or wreath. So for the full effect, here is my crown. And when I'm not using it as a crown, it sits very nicely on my wall. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit different, I know, but you know, it's something you can always do with the kids, or just if you want to do something a little bit different and creative. And you don't have to use it as a crown. You can always just use it as a wreath like this. Obviously, I would have preferred to have real greenery. However, I think that this is quite a good representation anyway. You could also decorate your crowns or your wreaths with anything that you like, really. But traditionally, it would be the evergreen. Okay, this is a quick one before I edit. Thank you to everybody who came to the live streams on Saturday for NAMI. We had a great time and we really enjoyed getting to know some of you. For those of you who are new to our channel, thank you for coming and welcome. We will also be doing a live stream on the 24th of December, and that will be a Minecraft video, possibly with some games as well. I'm not sure how long we will stream for, but we will probably start about 3 PM in British time, so GMT. I think that way people who are not in England might be awake. I will do some maths and I will let you know in the next video, which will be Joe making gingerbread, exactly what time our live stream will be. Thank you.